So anyway,
hey, well, welcome to the Mountain Border Wood. Welcome. We just had a false start there, so
yes, we've been talking for about 5 minutes,
yes,
and we didn't press record.
Right.
Some of you out there will probably
and by
think
we, he means him, right? So
some of you will probably think that's an improvement.
And also a little bit of announcement before we get started today. It was 2 days ago was Clive's birthday. Well, happy birthday, Clive.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, and how old are you now?
Well, I'm under 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're above 39.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
exactly.
All right.
So,
and under 41.
Damn, I was going to set a quiz for the listeners.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll just start again.
Okay. It was my birthday 2 days ago. If you can correctly guess which age I am, you will win a shout out.
Wow.
Pretty valuable.
Pretty valuable.
Yeah.
And if they want
Priceless.
to join the contest, how would they get in touch with us? The Facebook group, I guess.
Oh yeah. I
YouTube.
forgot to put the link up. Actually, this brings us to our bit of correspondence we've got for this show.
Okay.
Who do you think this might be?
Is it Geno again?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes.
good old Geno. Hi, Geno.
Yes. Keeping us alive, our lifeline.
Yes.
Hey, fellas. Look forward to the Wheeler and Woolsey triple bill. Well, here it is.
Here it is.
I attempted a search for the Facebook group and didn't find it. Maybe Clive can attach a link below, and I did send him a link, and he is now a member of the Matrimonial Circle Journal.
We have one member now.
And because you haven't even joined.
Oh, I haven't. Right, I keep meaning to do that, right?
Yes.
So.
And then you can enter the exciting Magic Morning Wood Facebook group, where nothing's happened yet. I might have to get the ball rolling. I was thinking, someone would join and then post something, but no one's done that. So there's actually no reason for you to join.
Right.
But if I remember,
I actually don't think I can find it either. So you need to send me a link to it.
Okay, I will put the link at the bottom of this show. Anyway, Geno continues. Question for Clive. If you had to choose, which of Ron's challenges made you want to pour bleach on your eyes more? Wet Hot American Summer or National Lampoon's Van Wilder? Same question for Ron. Which of Clive's challenges made you want to pour bleach on your eyes? Bat Pussy or International Gorillas? Keep up the great work, gentlemen.
Great question, Geno. Very good. Yeah. So, well, I would definitely say International Gorillas. International Gorillas is the bar for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
really?
Bad Pussy was annoying and irritating.
It's a masterpiece.
But it definitely didn't make me want to pour acid on my eyes. But International Gorillas, I actually did consider acid.
You were eyeing
the bleach. It was there next to my television. So definitely International Gorillas for me. And for yourself?
I think when I propose things, you actually get the bleach from the kitchen and put it atop the television set.
Ready to go, in case.
Well, in my case, I didn't. I don't know if I came across as hating Wet Hot American, because I didn't.
Yeah, you said that you didn't hate it, right?
Exactly. No, it's just so of those two, it would be Van Wilder. But I don't think I'd pour the bleach into my eyes. I'd pour it into my ears because it's Ryan Reynolds' kind of voice in general that So. Yeah,
it's because Clive is secretly in love with Ryan Reynolds, and he's just
that's right.
He's forcing down his
making my way through his. Oh, that's even horrible to think of. Just watching every Ryan Reynolds film.
He was good in Deadpool. I recommend Deadpool.
I didn't see Deadpool.
Both of them. Right, so anyway, so that's that. But technically, it shouldn't be versus Bad Pussy. It would be against the. What was the one that you actually made me watch for the I Hate You Man? It was
that was Van Wilder.
No, that was for me, for you, but you didn't get Bad Pussy for me. It was the bat. The Indian one. What was it called? Catwoman or
De Quar I think.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, which was on Geno's.
Cat Beast.
Which is on Geno's channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the Cat Beast. So but I would say International Gorillas was still worse than Cat Beast. Yeah, I would say Cat Beast over International Gorillas again. Anyway, But based on a theme coming up, I'm actually considering maybe I needed to give International Gorillas another shot. But I'm not sure I can. But
that's brave of you.
It is brave of me. But I'm thinking that maybe
even I'm kind of not.
I don't think I would be able to do the whole thing, but I mean, at least a little bit. But anyway, at least giving that type of movie a little bit more of a
chance.
A chance, yes.
Okay. That's interesting. We'll see. Anyway, but for the time being, so Geno Cuddy, thanks for the correspondence again, Geno. Geno posed a challenge for Ron.
Yes. He called me out, Geno.
He did because I think he thinks that you might be a bit of a Philistine when it comes to older black and white films.
Mm-hmm.
So he challenged you to a triple bill, or 3 films starring the old comedy team Wheeler and Woolsey.
Woolsey or Woolsey?
Is it Woolsey? Wheeler and Woolsey.
Woolsey, okay.
PEACH-O-RENO, Diplomaniacs, and Hips Hooray.
Hips Hooray.
Yeah. And that is exactly what we've done. I'm assuming you have watched.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I watched all 3 of them. Yes.
Wheeler and Woolsey being
Woolsey. It is Woolsey.
Yeah,
okay, I apologize. Sorry.
Wheeler and Woolsey being one of the forgotten comedy teams.
Yes. Well, that's the thing is that I was quite shocked because I mean I was familiar with at least like Abbott and Costello and the what do you call them, like those types of Costello
Lauren
Hardy and
Marx
the
Brothers,
Three Stooges, that kind of era. But I've never heard of Wheeler and Woolsey. So
yes, I think people are even more familiar with the Ritz Brothers than Wheeler and Woolsey, right?
Yeah, so,
but
it seems based on their library that they were quite lucrative. They were not lucrative. What's the word I'm looking for?
They were popular in the day, and prolific.
Yeah, prolific as well.
Yes,
sorry. Yes.
And it was probably pretty lucrative. I would have thought.
Yes, but they were definitely prolific in that they had a lot of movies. And considering I never heard of them.
I think they're a good example of something that was everywhere maybe in its day, and then just now.
Well, I did research a little bit as to why they're less known than their contemporaries, and it turns out that I guess they were more edgy. They were edgier.
I think they were.
They were edgier than the other people who could be sort of family friendly, like Lauren Hardy and Abbott and Costello were more kind of okay for kids as well.
I think so.
So after the 30s, after the war and stuff like that, then they would bring a lot of them back. They kind of had resurgences because their production companies would actually support them by doing reruns and syndications. But Wheeler and Woolsey, because they were so edgy, they never got picked up again. So they were sort of almost forgotten.
Yes, it's an interesting because if you think about it, a lot of that stuff which was general audience entertainment in the day, like you said, later became kids fodder, really, right? And most of it would play perfectly well. U certificate, but the Wheeler and Woolsey stuff is either edgy or sometimes, in a way, maybe a little bit too sophisticated in tone for kids. Like I think a lot of it would just. I can't imagine kids finding. There's not that much slapstick.
No, not much slapstick. But I did get a sort of a strong Marx Brothers feel from some of it. So
a little bit,
a little bit more. So I think maybe Marx Brothers also maybe were more adult.
But then again, the Marx Brothers, I think maybe they've benefited from just being massively respected, and kind of being canonized pretty early on, and considered. So it's difficult to say exactly why. I mean, I think the Marx Brothers films probably were a bigger budgeted for a start, and they're a lot more slick, and there's something about those. Well, I think, to be honest, with the Marx Brothers, I think their secret weapon is Groucho. Really.
Yes,
If you take Groucho out, fucking Zeppo, he can fuck off. He wasn't even funny anyway. Who's the other the Italian one who speaks like
Italian.
what's his fucking name?
Richard Marx?
No.
Chico.
There we go. Yeah, Chico isn't really very funny.
Right, yeah.
And then Harpo
Yeah.
is just a twat. He's really annoying, right?
But I got almost that Woolsey specifically with his the cigar and
Yeah.
stuff was almost doing like a Groucho impression almost. It was very similar. I mean, of course, it wasn't the same.
Right.
But there was differences, but I got almost like a. It was definitely like it lended itself. I don't know which one came first, but definitely I feel like there was overlap with that.
Yes, to be honest, I tell you who he reminded me of more is George Burns.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He looks George Burns looks a lot like Woolsey, right?
I know. I never saw much of George Burns's stand up or his kind of like the George Burns. What was his show called? It
was him and
his wife,
Gracie,
right? Gracie.
Right? Yeah.
What was the name of the show?
Not my out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah. So yeah. But anyway, Say Goodnight, Gracie. That one. That whole
right.
Stuff,
right.
So,
right.
But but I never saw him as himself. My familiar with George Burns was like from like the Oh God movies and
right.
So I only knew him as a character much than from his own. So but
I don't think we've slagged off Harpo enough. So let's go back to that. Harpo, my wife hates Harpo.
Oh really? Okay.
I tried to make her watch some Marx Brothers films, and then as soon as Harpo comes on, she's like,
really?
She's like physically repelled by
really?
it.
Why?
Well, I think he's really creepy, right? And he doesn't talk,
right.
and he has that kind of look. And then if you watch him in the Marx Brothers films, I know you're not supposed to, overthink these things, but he's a total dick, right? Ron has just showed me a picture of how, like, he'll just, if you remember, he just annoys people. Like, he just comes along and, someone's minding their own business, they got a hot dog stand or something, and he'll just fucking, start throwing their hot dogs around or, kicking them in the ass, ripping their clothes up, and you're thinking, you fucking asshole, like, he's such a dick, right? So, but having said that, I do like the Marx Brothers,
right.
but it's Groucho that ties it all together, I guess.
Of course, yeah.
So, I suppose that's what elevates their stuff to kind of canonize status. Where, like you said, Wheel and Woolsey aren't quite that level, but also on the other end, it's not child friendly necessarily,
right. Or at least it wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, what I mean is not so much because of adult although there's that as well. But what I mean is I don't think it would play to kids because there's not enough slapstick or it's not like Laurel and Hardy or Chaplin and Keaton and stuff like that. So they're apart from hardcore fans of this stuff like Geno, I guess I would imagine most people are not familiar with Weird and Woolsey. So of the three, I thought we'd do them in chronological order.
Right?
Okay. Even though they're all kind of pretty
they all kind of started running together after a while, so I have to remember which one is which. So,
right. I've actually forgot.
But anyway, let me just summarize, and let me just say, sorry to disappoint Geno, but I actually generally enjoyed these movies.
Okay, there we go.
I think Geno sort of underestimated my love of comedy specifically, right? So maybe I'm not as I said, maybe I could take or leave most black and white films, but I myself am a sort of a student and also a teacher of comedy, and specifically, and which has also made me surprised that I hadn't heard of Willard and Woolsey.
Would you like to take this opportunity to blow a raspberry at Geno? There we go.
Sorry, Geno. Because we don't alienate our one listener.
Yeah,
so.
no. Plus, as well, he's already got punishment in store because he said
now you have to watch all
the Marvel.
And the new Spider-Man just came out, so you can start there.
Right, extra one. Yeah. You have to watch them all. And how would he let us know that he's done this? Photos?
I guess an email, or photos. We'll go by honest.
Proof. Anyone can just say, "Oh yes, I just watched."
Or give us your review of each one.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. So as you go, each one give us a review.
Yeah, like a bite size. You don't have to necessarily go in unless you want to.
A 1 line or 2 lines or something.
You could even do because Geno has a show as well. Or he did have. I'm not sure if it's coming back but he has like I guess it's like a, correct me if I'm wrong, like a public access style thing, and there's episodes on YouTube. So, but even if it's not on there, he could just record like
Right.
this
Yep.
or something.
Mhm.
Anyway, let us know, Geno.
Yeah,
Let's have a bit of back and forth.
I mean, generally speaking, of course, as you said, I think they weren't the best comedians of their time. I think that some of their contemporaries were better, but I think they had some real solid stuff in there. I think,
Right.
With the exception of the sort of real blatant racism of Diplomaniacs, which made me a little bit uncomfortable. Other than that, I thought it was there's some real good puns in there. I'm a big pun fan. I'm a
Right.
dad. I like dad jokes, right? So
Yeah.
it's so I mean, yeah, I mean the storylines sort of all kind of running together a little bit. They're all kind of similar feeling to them, but generally speaking, I appreciated all of them for what they were. So
yes. Well, so let's kick off with PEACH-O-RENO then.
Okay.
PEACH-O-RENO, directed by...
One also, before you going to the other thing that maybe was really interesting about these movies, I did a little bit of research as I was watching with the cast.
Yeah.
And were you aware that the main girl in 2 of 3 of the movies were
Yes.
both killed?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Like within 2 years after being in this movie.
Yes.
One was murdered, and the other one died in a car accident. One from Diplomaniacs died in a car accident, and then the one from... I think PEACH-O-RENO, I think PEACH-O-RENO, she died, she was murdered by her boyfriend.
I'm going to have to look in detail here, but I know you might be referring to Thelma Todd in Hips. Anyway,
Hips, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
right,
we get
right,
to that,
yes.
we'll get to that.
Yes,
Otherwise, I'll get confused.
PEACH-O-RENO was the only one that...
But yes, I know what you mean. So, obviously, top of the suspect list, Wheeler and Woolsey.
Yeah.
It's more than a coincidence.
Guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so in PEACH-O-RENO, directed by William A. Sater, who seems to have done quite a few Wheeler and Woolsey films.
Right.
And he also worked with Laurel and Hardy and Marx Brothers. I mean, it's funny... in general, obviously the director is in charge, right? It's the helm of the ship, right? But I find when it comes to these kind of comedies from the 30s and 40s, the director attached almost becomes meaningless and interchangeable.
Yeah, it's really just like... It's kind of like a almost a television show where they have the crew are the same, but then they change in the director for every episode because it's really the director. They come in, they're just like a figurehead to just say, let's just keep doing what we're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
and that's not to. I'm sure, of course, I'm sure they did. And in the case of William A. Sater, he worked with Wheeler and Woolsey a lot, so they probably had a relationship. But yeah, it's funny. You don't really feel as if there's anyone's stamp on it, right? It's Wheeler and Woolsey are in charge,
doing their stuff, right?
And the director and the crew and everyone else around them, as kind of their job is, don't fuck it up, right? It's just
exactly.
let them get on with what they do,
let them do it,
and So I don't know. That might be slightly unfair, and someone might want to write in and correct that.
The estate of William Sater might come in and take offence.
From RKO, which RKO was Walter Woolsey's main studio. I think apart from one film, I think they just worked at RKO. And in this one, they play Wattle and Swift, and they're divorce lawyers, right?
Yeah.
And in Reno, Nevada, and I'm not sure when. Because of course now we know it's to this day it's the place you go to get a quick divorce, right? Nevada,
right.
And married as well,
and
right?
A quick marriage.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that started. I didn't have a chance to look this up, so I don't know if this was
I feel it's
satire.
I feel it's connected to the whole gambling and debauchery kind of. Like atmosphere of that city, where where like it's sort of people go and they gamble and they get money and I'm rich, okay, and they get drunk and then they have quick marriages because they fall in love with the woman they meet at the.
But then again, Vegas still wasn't a thing yet, right? In 1931.
Yeah, but I think that what Vegas will be the shadow of that was already the room.
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming there must be some kind of particular reason, a legal loophole that Vegas ended up where it was.
Right.
I mean, I saw the Bugsy movie, so I know Bugsy Siegel was.
Then that must be true.
Yeah, well, no, but he was, more or less responsible.
Warren Beatty says so.
Yes,
must be true.
He was more or less responsible for, creating the Vegas that we know today. But prior to that, I don't know, if it, for instance, in the Old West, if it was Nevada was like the town people went to gamble and horns because they had different laws. Or it's funny, whenever we sit down to do this, it's always like, why didn't I look this up? It didn't occur to me before.
Well, I mean, that's the stuff you would get from any Western you see, is that they tended to have pretty lax on gambling laws, like saloons and stuff like that, And
well, that's what I mean. So what would have made it Nevada specifically?
The desert and I think that's where a lot of the Western stuff took place, because it was sort of in the desert. So again, I'm guessing here.
Yes,
yes.
I feel that. But anyway,
I know it's true.
Someone else might know and let us know. It's funny, you don't expect where the conversation will go or where you. And now I really want to know.
Okay.
So I'll look that up in my own time. So anyway, their quick divorces are so popular. There's like a shuttle bus service right from the station to the office, and you've got lots of men and women going to Wattle and Swift to get quick divorces. Including so the film opens at the Bruno's 25th wedding anniversary, right? And it's a couple, they've been married for 25 years, and they immediately start arguing, and they're like, and they're like, okay, well, I'm having a divorce, well, I'm gonna have a divorce before you, and it's like a race, right? And they head to Reno to get the divorce, and they have a couple of daughters as well. One played by Dorothy Lee, who was a Wheeler and Woolsey regular, and she lived to a ripe old age.
Yeah,
so
everyone in this movie, I think.
Yeah. They hadn't started killing people yet, Wheeler and Woolsey.
Yeah.
And Zelma O'Neill and Dorothy Lee. Dorothy Lee
Prudence
is
and Pansy.
Huh?
Prudence and Pansy.
Yes. Dorothy Lee was the one who caught my eye. She's kind of quite a cute ice cream blonde, right? She was in a lot of Wheeler and Woolsey.
Yeah, a lot
films.
of the leading ladies are all kind of definitely like ice cream blondes. There's definitely a type.
It's that look, right?
That look from the 30s, right?
And it's funny actually. It's one of those things I've developed a taste for, a bit of a fetish for
really?
actually over the years. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know what it is. There's something about that look, that kind of slightly post-flapper kind of look. There's something really sexy about it, right? And that's the other thing you were saying about how Wheeler and Woolsey films are quite slightly sophisticated or adult in tone as well. The three we're talking about today are all kind of pre-production code as well. Well, there was a production code, but it was very lax.
Right.
And then notoriously in 1934, mid-1934, they started cracking down, right? So it's there are fans of pre-code films, right? So as soon as sound started coming in, like 29, 32, 34, there's like this window of time where you get films of all genres that are, sometimes kind of quite surprisingly not graphic, obviously, especially not by today's standards, but quite naughty, I guess.
Yeah.
And each of these films have, like, if you're not used to it, some surprising innuendo and stuff, and a lot of like girls running around in like stocking tops and things like that, and
which is why they were more of the adult crowd.
Yes,
and that's why they probably never lasted after that. So.
Right. So the two daughters head to Reno as well. So the basic thing is the two daughters want to stop their parents from getting a divorce, and one, because Wheeler and Woolsey, Wattle and Swift, they split up the divorces between them, like the men and the women, right? Mm-hmm. So they both orchestrate to have the other one seen out with a man or woman,
right.
in which case one is Wheeler in drag, right? Mm-hmm. Who has to be said looks good in drag.
Yeah. It actually took me a while to realize that it was him.
Yeah, Bert Wheeler. Yeah.
He's
a good-looking woman. Yeah, and that's pretty much it plot-wise. The only other major character is there's this cowboy, right, called Ace Crosby,
right.
who's this big guy played by Mitchell Harris, who I didn't know He wasn't in much, but he did play Wolf Larsen's brother, Death Larsen, in the 1930 adaptation of The Sea Wolf, which I haven't seen. But, you've got to be a big menacing guy to play Death Larsen, right? So he's a big, imposing guy, and he wants to shoot the lawyer, so Bert Wheeler, in this case, who got his wife to have a divorce from him. That's about it. And madcap hijinks ensue, right?
A lot of like real, what became real standard farce elements were in there, like the going in the door and just as the other person's coming out the door, and, mistaken identities, and men in drag. A lot of it's real standard stuff that became standard, which I assume was quite new at this point. Well, I mean not new because no, but been around, some of that stuff's been around since like Shakespeare, but. Or even before that, Greek and stuff, but not full farce elements. Like those are. Yes,
well, you're still 2 years into sound as well, right? So people would have been, I guess, sound reinvigorated. A lot of the slapsticks. Mm-hmm. Oh, now it's slapstick. Plus, you can do punning and stuff, and there's a lot of that. A lot of punning, like you mentioned. There's a lot of wordplay with some of which is made me laugh. Mm-hmm. Some of which. I have to. I just didn't get.
Well, here's the other thing I wanted to mention is that a lot of the only problem with it, especially with this type of comedy from this era, is basically the frame of reference, right? Which
exactly.
And so the frame of reference, of course, for comedy is that you have to, in order to get a joke, you have to know where the context of the joke comes from. Right? You have to know where the joke comes from. You have to know everything that's referenced in the joke. Right. And so if there's any element that you lose or you don't get or you're not familiar with, then the joke is lost. Right. Yes. So that was the thing. Is a lot of like the jokes. I could tell that that's probably quite funny. I bet you that would like bring down the house in the 30s,
90 years ago.
90 years ago. But now I have no idea what they're talking about. Right? Exactly. I just don't know what it's referring to. Right. So
So some of it is. Some of it's funny, and then some of it is, okay, I get that, but it's not that funny. And then some of it's clever, but more clever than it is funny. So you think, oh, that's clever, but it's not funny. It doesn't make me laugh. Yeah, but like you said, there's other things that just go way over your head.
But it was very fast paced, very like really timing was really important. And I bet you this was hilarious in the 30s.
And the other thing as well is that confuses issues as well is what I like. I have to admit, of the three films, this was my least favorite.
Okay.
Do you have a ranking for the three?
I didn't, because I didn't actually pay. I just watched them in any order. I think this is the third one I watched.
Okay. So this is the first one I watched, and it was my least. It wasn't my first Wheeler and Woolsey, but it was the first one I watched. I'd seen a couple before, but this one was. But the element that's there, they all have musical numbers. There's a thing which you mentioned is there's always two or three musical numbers, which are. I mean.
Which is the one that had the really nice song with the "Keep on Doing What You're Doing"?
That was the other one. Hips Hips Hooray.
So that was a nice song.
No. That's the thing. The musical numbers is some of them are. They don't affect you, and then some of them this is quite a catchy tune. And then there's other. It's actually what I quite like about films of this era as well is we were talking before about how some comedies are. They're not actually that funny, but they're just good-natured, and you just enjoy watching them. So there was like scenes, like I think there was a scene in this one. There's like a bit of an extended like a tap dance sequence or something, and it's not amazing, and nothing particularly funny has happened. But I'm like, quite happy
fun.
to watch this.
And I think that's the point. It was entertaining.
Yes, you watch people enjoy themselves,
even if I don't get the reference or the joke. Whatever, it's still I can tell that it is a joke, and I'm appreciating it for what it was.
And then the other element as well, which I really like about these films, which muddies the waters again, is the surrealism. There's not so much in this, but when we get to Diplomaniacs, it's like fucking hell. This is like, and what's interesting is, so sometimes when you don't get a gag, whether it's a sight gag, you're not sure, is that just because it's fucking weird and it was fucking weird in 1931, or is it dated, or a combination of both,
or it might be a reference to something else that we're not familiar with.
Exactly.
Like a parody or a satire of something else.
Because you would watch a parody made today, for instance, and unless you're very tapped into everything, there's jokes that are going to fly past your references. So then you add
parody itself is very difficult to do because you have to know the source material, right? So then
you add a few decades, and then it gets really confusing. But Yeah, but like I said, PEACH-O-RENO was my least favourite of the three. But having said that, I certainly didn't find it a hard watch. And they're all just like an hour long, just over an hour.
Harmless.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Do you have anything else to say about
No, I think
PEACH-O-RENO?
it was fun. It was enjoyable. A little
Right, and Wheeler and Woolsey don't appear to have murdered any of the cast members.
Those ones, no one died.
Yes, we're going into darker territory now.
Yeah, now we're getting into.
This is like a cold case.
The only thing that I did have a question about was all three of them. I didn't. Maybe I can understand Diplomaniacs, but I could not understand the titles in any of them.
PEACH-O-RENO.
Yeah.
No, again,
was I missing something? Or
I think that's probably like you were mentioning.
A reference to something.
I think so.
Yeah,
obviously, the Reno bit I get. Right. It's Reno, Nevada.
Right,
But then Peach-O.
I don't know what Peach-O.
No, because a lot of those. For instance,
maybe Geno can help us out.
Yes, maybe he knows. Because my particular favorite comedy team of that era has always is the Three Stooges.
Oh, right.
Because what I like about the Three Stooges is they're all funny, unlike the Marx Brothers. They're all funny.
They're all funny.
I mean, fucking Moore's funny, Curly's funny, Larry is hilarious, Shemp is brilliant. Yeah. The only one who was never funny was
a Ginger.
No, just making them Popbo
baby.
And like towards the end of the 50s period, the last few shorts they did, they got some guy in called Joe Besser. I don't know if you've ever seen.
I think we talked about
my God, he's shit. He's like, because he doesn't fit the team. Like all the other ones, they fit the team. Yeah. But he just does his own weird camp thing. So they're like slapping each other around, and then he just goes, woo! Just, what are you doing?
What did he do?
He's just. Maybe it would work on its own or something. He just doesn't belong.
He was probably like a popular solo stand-up comic or something. They brought him in.
He might have been.
He didn't mix, right?
But I love the Three Stooges, bar the Joe Besser shorts.
Right.
I mean, those I don't rewatch.
Right.
But the other stuff's all gold.
Right.
But why did I start talking about this?
You love.
What did you mention before that?
Comedy of this era.
Oh yeah, that's right. So a lot of the Stooge shorts, a lot of the Three Stooges shorts, their titles are very much play on word things in referencing other things.
Something else in the culture.
So I think it's something along those
and also
lines.
Like this next one, the hips. I don't know why it was hips. Was it just like a dance hips kind of thing, or like
hips? It's a pretty good title, but I don't know if it's after, or again, if we're just overthinking it, and it's just a slightly funny title.
Right.
But yeah, Diplomaniacs, that makes sense.
That sort of makes sense.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah. I suppose it's dipsomaniac, I guess, which is what they used to refer to alcoholism.
Right. Oh, okay.
So and there's a drunken.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that would be.
But again, I think we might be overthinking it.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, I forgot to write down the years, but did you write them down?
For
Diplomaniacs, is it 32, 33?
Diplomaniacs.
It might be 33.
Diplomaniacs was 33.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So Diplomaniacs 33. I was surprised this a screenplay by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, who later went on to become a very well-renowned director.
Right.
And I was surprised to see his name. Again, same director, William A. Saiter. Again, RKO, an hour, black and white, boom. This was my favourite of the three.
Right.
I thought this was really something.
This is one that Geno specifically called me out on, especially this one.
Yes, and I think I understand why. I not so much. I think it was more especially. It wasn't so much especially Ronald hated. I think it was more especially. That's one we should do. I think.
Oh, really? Yeah, I got that he thought that I would hate that one especially.
Oh, could be as well. I don't know. Do you know? Let us know. So we can drag this out as much as possible. Yes. We're just so excited that someone listens.
Right.
Thanks, Geno.
Yeah. So this one,
can you imagine how crushed we'd be if Geno stopped
listening? Geno, don't leave us. We'll keep doing whatever you want. So anyway,
the entire Wheeler Woolsey, all 20, 30 movies.
So Dipsomaniac has the leading lady here is Marjorie White, who died 3 years later after this.
2 years, 35. At the age of 31.
33, sorry, yes.
Yeah,
the age of 31 because of a road accident, a car accident of some kind.
Right. And
internal
speaking of-
hemorrhaging as a result of a road accident. So
Right.
I assume she was in a car accident of some kind. She was a Canadian, though. Interesting.
Okay, and speaking of the Three Stooges, she was also in one of their early shorts, Woman Haters.
Right.
So I recognise her again. Bit of a cutie of
Right.
that era.
Right.
Yeah. So I was watching Diplomaniacs, and the surrealism in this one is through the roof.
Right.
And I got a real. Speaking of Marx Brothers again, I got a real Duck Soup vibe of this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Very Duck Soup, isn't it? So this one's a bit more difficult to do a plot synopsis of, really, but basically it starts with actually quite a good. I mean, it's funny. It starts with they talk about the noble red man, right? Which is basically the Native American, and facts about Indians. There's apparently they don't have beards, right? I'm assuming this is pretty much bullshit.
I'm fairly certain it was, yeah.
But for some reason, and it's funny, I don't know, again, we have no frame of reference. Is this something people believed?
I don't know if it was a belief or it was just like a stereotype or...
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It must be something, I don't know.
And because if it's not, it's a very bizarre thing to have made up out of whole cloth. Right?
I mean, the idea, of course, that they were supposed to be, of course, they're running a barbershop on the reservation.
Yes, which is quite a good gag.
Which is, I guess, if you understand the stereotype that they don't have beards, that it's a gag, right? So that it's like this kind of like, it's like being a refrigerator salesman in the Arctic kind of idea. Like it's like a useless kind of job. Yes. But of course, you have to understand that frame of reference.
Yes.
That they
so I'm guessing it must have been a stereotype of the day. Otherwise, it was a very peculiar thing to have arrived at.
Yeah.
Right. So So immediately after we get this fact, we're in a barbershop, and Woolsey's complaining to Wheeler, right? Why did we start a barbershop in the middle of an Indian reservation, right? And starts off pretty good gag, and then some dude comes in with a massive fucking beard, right? He's like the only other white man on the reservation, but his wife's run away to the Foreign Legion, and he said, I won't shave until she comes back. And apparently she comes back, and he comes in with this big fucking beard, which has a nest of birds in it.
Or raining things in it.
And you're thinking, okay, this is pretty good. I was already laughing at this point.
Right.
And then some Native Americans come in with like scalps to be barbered, which move by themselves.
It runs around the counter.
And you're like, oh, hang on, what's going on here? This is really strange. And then they're talking about, they start talking about foreign affairs, right? And I think this is the thing that links it. I mean, both this and Duck Soup are from the same time, right? And 33 is like when Hitler came to power, and you have all this stuff going on in Europe, and so obviously, and they start talking about foreign affairs, right? And every time they say foreign affairs, all the Indians go oompa, right? And okay, and the thing, this stuff is so weird. Any thought of like racial stereotyping or anything like that doesn't even enter your mind, really, because it's just so fucking weird. You can't really take offense to it.
I guess
It's just what the fuck. So then they're taken to the Indian chief, who pulls up in a limo. And
speaks in a perfect British accent.
Yes, I went to Oxford where I studied the classics. Again, good gag.
Good gag.
I got it. It made me laugh. And then for some reason, the Indians want to be represented at the Geneva Convention. Right. So they decide to give Wheeler and Rosie $1,000 each, and they send them
and make them official.
Yes, representatives or ambassadors.
Investors of the.
But before they go, there was one. They do one thing, and this still puzzles me. I was trying to figure this out. They bring a cage out with a gorilla in it, like a man in a suit gorilla, and they say, "This used to be the most beautiful woman in Paris. She's now a gorilla," and that's it.
Yeah,
it's
it. Again, probably frame reference, probably something.
For the life of me,
I'm expecting a big email from Geno explaining all of our our confusion and all these
with notes and footnotes. Actually, I would love that. That'd be brilliant.
So
if you know, so they're sent to go. Well, it's a steamship cruise, isn't it? Where all these people from America, I guess, are going over to Geneva to take part in this peace conference. And there's a bit of a song and dance first about the land being taken away from the Indians and stuff. And yes, so and well, there's the villain, right? There's a villain played by Louis Calhern, who was also in the Asphalt Jungle many years later.
Yeah.
So he's makes
Winkle Reed.
Right. He makes high explosive bullets.
Right.
So he's concerned that peace will mean
he wants war, right?
Yes. So
he's the warmonger.
Yes, and so he wants to sabotage this diplomatic journey, and he has a Chinese henchman, right?
Yes.
Called Chow Chow, played by the very white.
He's actually just called Chinaman.
Right? No. He is called Chow Chow, but
in the credits, he's just called Chinaman.
Oh, is it? I thought it was only on the IMDb.
Or it could be on IMDb.
Oh, okay. No, I think they refer to him as Chow Chow. Played by the very white Hugh Herbert. Right. Who, but again,
plays it very straight.
Yes, his again, of course, but white man playing a China. I mean, they did it for years with Charlie Chan, right? I mean, indefensible to a certain degree, but
indefensible by today's standards.
Yeah, but what you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Some of the Charlie Chan films are great. I mean, there's and if you accept you just accept it. He's quite funny.
Yeah, he's very sardonic and dry in his humor.
And he keeps doing this thing,
kind of sarcastic.
Yes, but what I like about him, his character, he's supposed to be a sage, right? But he doesn't actually have any references, so he just keeps. It is written where. He has no idea, and they do that gag a few times. It's funny every time. Actually. So they go on this steamship. This cruise, and Wheeler and Woolsey it's supposed to be a top secret mission, right? But they tell everyone. And they drop all their diplomatic papers. This doesn't sound funny, but it plays out because it's so fast paced.
You've also missed putting them on the big trampoline thing and sending them.
Or the carpet. And they throw them up in the air. Yes, the Native Americans, they throw them up in the air and they just keep on going.
That was real surreal.
It is. It's like no rules rules in it. And the jokes are like bum bum bum. Like there's no.
That was during the musical number, I think. Right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I was expecting them to come back down, but they don't.
Aibe.
Huh?
Udge Aibe.
What's that?
That's one of the songs. Is Udge Aibe.
Oh, is it really? Oh, okay.
Goodbye in Big Latin.
Okay. There we go. So, they end up on this ship and. There's this extended sequence where they get drunk, which is also quite funny. And they're like, I hate letters. A, B, C. It's just for some random reason they hate letters and they get drunk. And I like watching people, it's difficult to do well, but I like watching people play drunk as well. That's another thing that they do quite well here. You enjoy watching these people being drunk. And then the captain of the captain of the ship, Richard Earl, loses control of the ship, right? And it just goes round and round for months. And then basically they end up in Paris. And then so the bad guy up his sleeve, we mentioned earlier Marjorie White, right?
Right.
She's sent to, I don't know exactly, spy on them. Just
I think she was supposed to just
seduce
them and sabotage them, I think.
But then when we get to Paris, there's another character they get to seduce them, right? Fifi, the most beautiful woman in Paris. Played by Phyllis Barry. Again, died at the age of 45 in 1954 of barbiturate overdose.
All right.
So another beautiful woman who died young.
Right.
Real lady killers, these Wheeler and Woolsey.
Yeah.
And she plays the most beautiful woman in Paris, and she has this great thing where basically when she kisses a man, just smoke rises off them, and they appear to just
Right.
die. Right? She just literally
She's so
kills.
beautiful, right?
Yeah, kills men with her smouldering
Yeah.
kisses. Right. So that's pretty funny. And then, yeah, they get led to a bar full of sailors with knives who are supposed to kill them, but then they decide to rescue them. And anyway, it's very episodic, obviously. At some point, Chow Chow has enough, and he takes a rowboat back to China, right? He rows all the way back to China, and his wife's there on the beach waiting for him. And they eventually get to Geneva, where the peace conference just seems to be a bunch of men fighting and shooting each other, right? And they don't want peace, they want war. Edgar Kennedy is the chairman. And as you mentioned earlier, I suppose this is the most problematic scene for today's audiences, right? So there's an explosion, and everyone turns into like Al Jolson style blackface, right? Mama with the white lips and everything else black, and there's a big song and dance routine. Visually very arresting.
Yes, I'll say that. Yeah, definitely.
And again, obviously, you have to take things in the context of time. But this scene was just, again, the surrealism of it just kind of outweighed. I mean, obviously, you offence is taken, not given, and I'm not necessarily, the right demographic that I'm going to be offended, right? But as a, you like to think you're a somewhat sensitive modern viewer, this didn't necessarily like for instance, if I watch like Birth of a Nation or something, which is even older, right? There's scenes in that where you're just like, oh, that's just that was never cool.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But this scene is just so batshit off the wall, fucking. It's a fascinating relic of its time.
It's definitely like a window to the past.
Yes. And there's even another guy. There's like a guy with a big axe who tries to kill them at some point. But the Native Americans have their eyes on them, right? They're always watching, so they don't let any harm come to them. I forgot Wheeler and Woolsey's characters are Willy Nilly and Hercules Grubb, which are good character names. We mentioned there's little Billy Bletcher's in there as well. He's one of those 4 German guys with Schwenzer, Putin, Schwenzer, and again, kind of
pooping.
That did actually make me laugh.
I'll say that definitely got a giggle out of me. Pooping.
And Billy Bletcher, of course, was the original voice of Goofy and Pluto. He did a shitload of voices.
Oh, really? Okay.
The other thing, the other one I noticed as well was the guy who plays the butler in Paris, who I wasn't sure, was he supposed to be a bit of a gay stereotype? He was like singing the whole time.
I think everything got stereotyped. Everything was there somewhere.
Equal opportunities offenders. It's played by this Australian guy called Charles Coleman, and I looked him up, and he wasn't. Prolific is. In those days, you're talking the early days of Hollywood, prolific is a bit of a relative term. Some people have like 400 credits or something. So I think this guy was relatively restrained. He only had like 180 or something. But almost all of them seem to be butler. Butler, because he was like the go-to
butler. We need a butler.
Was this Australian guy who just ended up in Hollywood? I think he was an actor, sort of went there to try his luck and ended up playing butlers for years.
Whatever pays the bills, right?
So, Diplomaniacs. Sorry, I've been talking for. I'll let you get in here, Ron, but I'll just finish with Diplomaniacs. Had me pretty much laughing pretty much all the way through.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were not too many. The other two had, in general favourable, but there were occasional lulls. Sometimes musical numbers.
I definitely think this was the strongest of them. And and I think it's generally considered one of their strongest of all of their movies. I think.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did 21 together. I think the two of them. So this is considered one of their best. So.
Yes. No. I mean, you're making that amount of films as well, right? There's like, Oh, sorry, I did remember one other thing that made me laugh. I mean, there's so many things. I stopped writing them down at all. But I like the point when they reach Geneva and it's supposed to be the city of peace. They're look over there, and there's like a lion and a lamb literally crunched up next to each other. That's quite good. There's a lot of really good gags like that. And like you said, there's some stuff just infantile, but it's funny. Like pooping. It's just
pooping. It's funny. I like to.
It was.
Hurricane pooping.
So this film, in general, I would say this was the one because I have to admit because we were in a short period of time and we couldn't get things delivered. We were very, very naughty and downloaded these films, didn't we, Ron?
No, I didn't. I just got it from you, so I don't know where. I have plausible deniability. I don't know where you got them from.
You are guilty of receiving stolen goods.
I don't know where it came from. So.
Yeah. And the other two I didn't, because again they're not necessarily the best copies in the world as well. I didn't keep Diplomaniacs. I kept on my hard drive. I think I might watch Diplomaniacs again one day. It's just, I can imagine it's a fun thing to put on. I mean, to sit down and watch it and make notes was good, but I can imagine just enjoying it. Enjoying it, having a few drinks and saying pooping, and would be So Diplomaniacs was really good. It was my favourite. How about you, Ron? Any thoughts on Diplomaniacs?
Again, I didn't get a chance to say much, but yes.
No, now's a chance.
Absolutely, just what you said. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely surreal and a bit of a out there kind of stuff. But I thought there was a lot of good stuff in there. As I said, they all kind of ran together for me. This was the first one I watched.
Oh, okay.
So it was definitely like I think I watched them alphabetically. I think is how I watched them. Right. So that's.
Do you think seeing this one first that the other ones didn't quite live up to it?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, definitely. This one was like I didn't know really what I was in for with the other two because so I was a little bit like, this is just sort of a more standard kind of comedy.
Right. Yeah. No. So I think if you wanted to convert someone to Wheeler and Woolsey, this would probably be the one to go with.
Right. Yeah.
There's actually. Oddly enough, there's one Geno put up on his channel, which is the most difficult to find Wheeler and Woolsey films. The only one they didn't make for RKO. You can see it on YouTube thanks to Geno. It's called So This Is Africa, and it's kind of a parody of those ethnographic movies, jungle movies of the 30s and Tarzan and stuff like that, Jungle Gym, that kind of thing. And I think that's probably my second favourite after Diplomaniacs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that one's really good as well. That one's got some solid kind of surrealism and gags. And
why do you think? Do you think that they had a lot like this, or was this more of an outlier than? Because if you base it on the other two seems to be more like the standard.
Well, I mean, we'll get to Hip Hip Hooray in a minute, but Hip Hip Hooray had some kind of quite surreal moments, and there were bits in PEACH-O-RENO, and So This Is Africa is, I would say, about as surreal as Diplomaniacs as well. So, no, I have to admit. And I've read reviews of some other Wheeler and Woolsey movies. I think I am sold, I have to admit. I think I am probably going to make my way through the filmography. Okay, you?
If I have time, definitely. It's not high on my list of priorities, but if I definitely run across them, I will definitely try to check them out. Yeah. Right.
Well, any good ones, I'll send your way. Right. So the last of the three, Hips Hooray, 1934. So kind of just before the production code started clamping down a little bit, and I get the feeling as well that I don't think it was an on-off switch thing. I think it was like a slow turning of the screws, right? And I certainly got the feeling from this, even though there were some kind of risque bits and like a almost naked maid character. I got the feeling this was slightly toned down. Certainly from Diplomaniacs, at least. It just... but then again, there's that whole extended keep on doing what you do.
Yeah,
I suppose that's quite suggestive, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you could take it, or at least it could be portrayed as just being kind of like innocent, like kind of like a romantic love kind of thing.
Right.
So.
No, I'm just thinking because it has that the way it's sung as well. It's got that slight kind of like Mae Westy kind of thing.
I don't know. I got it was more kind of like an innocent love, kind of like like just you could take it that way.
Maybe it's in the Cock of the Beholder.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
But that song, which apparently was meant originally for the Marx Brothers,
right?
I was quite surprised that these two guys, Calmer and Ruby, Bert Calmer and Harry Ruby, they wrote a lot of stuff of the Marx Brothers as well. But they actually they wrote the screenplay for this film as well, which I was surprised to see. I don't know how many screenplays they wrote. I think they were mostly lyricists or songwriters.
Right.
But this one was directed by someone else, Mark Sandrich, who is most well known for making some Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies, including the classic Top Hat. And do you have the plot synopsis written down for this? Because I feel like I'm yapping a lot. I'd like to hand it over to you.
I would say just on what you're saying about Calmer and Ruby, that looks like they did write a lot. At least they did they have a lot of story credits. I don't know if they wrote full screenplays, but they have story.
Okay.
Like they were given story credits, so maybe they were either like the idea guys,
right,
or they were reading in another genre or whatever that was then being adapted of some kind.
Right.
Right. So.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see.
Maybe they were like little Barton Finks.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
I mean, that's okay. I think you're doing a fairly good job. I mean, basically, this is they're salesmen in this one, and they're kind of like shyster kind of salesmen.
Yes.
And they're trying to sell like some like.
I can't even remember what the fuck they were selling.
Yeah, something. But then anyway,
some kind of snake oil.
Yeah, snake oil. Some kind of snake oil. And then this woman who works at the department store who's going to get fired because she isn't selling enough.
This is Dorothy Lee.
Okay, who Dorothy Lee, right?
Yeah.
Who
she
lived to a ripe old age.
Yes, that's the one. She's the Wheeler and Woolsey regular.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And so she has to increase her selling, or else she's going to get fired. And so she gets
flavored lipstick.
So flavored lipstick. Yes. So she gets them to basically sell them for her. And
because Bert Wheeler gets the hots for her.
Right. Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, we can help sell them."
Yeah.
But then some cops come along, and to prove that they're not hawking things, they have to pretend they're giving them away. Right. So they sell all her products, but they don't have any money for it.
So, but then she needs the money, so then they end up having to get money to pay her and stuff.
Yes, yeah. So, but actually, this one's a lot all over the place. This is the most of the three. It's the most kind of episodic one without a real proper story.
Yeah. I got lost a couple times.
Yes, so did I. And looking back at my notes, they're all scripts I was drinking as well when I was watching this one. But basically, we're speaking of other tragic figures. So Thelma Todd,
yeah.
She plays the woman, she's like Dorothy Lee's boss, right? And she decides to give Wheeler and Woolsey a contract to help them sell this flavor. Because that's the weird thing as well. At the very beginning, they're doing like a sales pitch on the radio, right? This beauty company.
Right.
It's a very pre-Me Too scene of women trying to make themselves as beautiful as possible for men, right? And that's the only reason you would want to.
Of course.
But what's really peculiar about it is, they're on the radio, and I'm assuming no one can actually see these women apply lipstick, and no one's saying anything. It's just music, and it's like, okay, I'm not quite sure how that works, and I'm not sure if that's a gag or not. But anyway, you were talking tragedies. So Thelma Todd,
and she actually did several Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy movies as well.
Well, Thelma Todd was actually someone I knew.
Yeah, she was. Maltese Falcon and
well, specifically, there's a chapter on her death as well in the Hollywood Babylon book.
Oh, okay.
Because she was found dead at the age of
29.
Yes, in 1935. She was found dead in a car in a garage.
Only 1 year after this movie came out.
Right,
so, yeah,
right. Wheeler and Woolsey strike again.
Yes.
So well, that's the thing. No one knows. Right? It was at her boyfriend, the director Roland West's house, and the theory is that he didn't let her in the house for some reason. So she went into the garage and turned the ignition on in the car to warm up, and she fell asleep, and the exhaust fumes killed her. But some people think it was murder by another jealous love rival, so it's one of those. It's one in the classic original Hollywood Babylon canon.
Apparently, the boyfriend actually confessed on his deathbed that he had killed.
All right,
her. I heard that apparently. So
okay,
okay.
But again, I don't think it's one of these. I don't think it's one that's ever actually been conclusively solved. Right? Yeah. So, so then it gets a bit, then they, I'm confused now, but basically they pretend to have Wheeler and Woolsey pull a stunt so it looks like they have offices beyond their means, right? And then they end up stealing properties, right? Which is like again, this confused me a little. They stole like a bag of, I don't even know how you steal a property. Are they like contracts or?
Yeah, contracts or something like that.
Because it just looked like a bag of like bonds or money.
But the point was that they stole it by accident or something, and then they were blamed for it.
Yes, and then the police are after them.
Valuable thing, and then they were after them to get it.
And Woolsey's telltale tying of a cigar wrapper after unwrapping it is like the pretty weak clue.
Yeah, I think they were trying to think of something, right? So
right, and
lyricists wrote this. What do you?
Yeah, and they were wondering how they're going to get the songs in, right? Including this one, "Keep on doing what you do," which goes on. That's quite a long sequence.
There's a reprise of it too.
Yes,
later, so.
Although there's one scene which is quite funny where they're running around the sofa singing. That's quite funny.
Right.
And then the real left turn it takes is in like the last third or something, where it turns into a car race movie, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of promotional.
And I couldn't actually quite figure out why.
No, neither could I.
The car race. So.
I think it's just a promotional, trans. It's not. Where was it's just a transnational race. There's like a cannonball run kind of thing.
They went to go see a race, and then suddenly they were in the race.
Yes,
and then they were like in the mountains somewhere, and then there was somewhere else.
A cyclone takes them up on the Rockies, and then
there was somewhere else completely. It seemed like they were in a different country or something, and then suddenly they were back in the race and they won. Right, so.
But the car race stuff was interesting for me as well. It's like because apart from their car, like the other cars, it really took me back to I hadn't thought about it, but those like long tube-shaped racing cars of the day, and people have like the goggles on. It was like a very iconic kind of. I was like, oh fuck, I hadn't. It was very something about it was just like, I haven't seen that for a long time. It was so it was quite cool to watch that. And then what struck me as well, there was two specific scenes where. Something I didn't expect from these movies, you got the comedy, you got songs or whatever. I didn't expect to be like really impressed by special effects, right? But there's one scene earlier on where they're like swinging this woman around, right? And then they throw her. But the way it's done, like when they're swinging her, there's no cut away. They're swinging this woman, and it's her, right? It's clearly her. But by the time they get to the end of the swing, where it's getting really violent and they sling her, obviously that's not her. But there's no cutaway. It's really well done. I was trying to puzzle how the fuck did they do that? And the other one was in the chase. What do they put in there? They accidentally put something in their tires, right? Is it helium?
Yeah, helium. Yeah, they fly over the cars.
So the wheels suddenly fluff up like clouds, and then the car jumps over the other car. And I was thinking, that's really well done as well. That looks.
It looks really. Yeah,
it's like wow, that looks genuinely.
It was almost cartoonish.
Yes, but in a way that wasn't like it looked like they actually did it. It's a physical stunt, right? But it was like something you'd expect out of like Speed Racer or something, right? Really.
Yeah. And also, I was also impressed by the car on the very tall, like thin mountain.
Oh yes,
which is balancing and stuff, and then the whole car crash and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like again, that those would seem like practical stunts that would probably be quite expensive and difficult to do. So,
but at least with that one, when they're on the peak, you can kind of tell how it's some kind of miniature or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But in terms of the race one, and I can't see how they would have done it other than. I don't know if they have some kind of hoist or something to lift the car over the other car, and they're in the car as well, right? It's not like a stunt double or so. Yeah, it's fascinating when you do watch films like this from another era. Sometimes there are these things where you're just like, wow, that really is from another time. That's like from Dimension X or something like. You don't see things like that anymore. Either for health and safety reasons or just, I don't know, a lack of imagination, or maybe too many rules. Like, I'm not sure how many comedies that are made nowadays have this total abandonment of, like, physical laws. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if audiences today would stand for it or something. Like, there's limits to surrealism, right? They have to be somewhat realistic, or you don't really see. You don't really see this kind of total flights of fantasy anymore. Which, so again, hips hooray! I had a good time with it. You?
Yeah. I'd say, as you said, about the second of
it wasn't quite up to Diplomaniacs standard, but very good. Also on it is the singer Ruth Etting is the other notable name. I mean, the thing is, all these films as well, they've if you look at the cast members, Hollywood was a kind of smaller place in those days, right? And bit players or extras, they would literally be an extra one day, and then the next day they'd have like a line here and then they might have a supporting. But if you look at films of this era, if you look down, like nowadays, you look at a film, you look at the cast, like the main cast members, and then below that you'll have and then you get like towards the bottom, and some people have only ever been in like one film or 5 films. Almost all the people credited on these films have like 100, 200, 300 credits, because it's a smaller town, less people.
We're all kind of helping each other.
It must have been a fascinating time to have been in Hollywood, because you would have been on so many films, and everyone would have known each other. I know there are some film novels and films like Dale Locust and stuff like that, which tap into this era. But I'd really like to see a really good film, which was like what it was like to be. A bit player in the 30s. It must have been fucking something, right? It must have been something.
Yeah. Should make that.
Well, you never know. I'm still trying to get this fucking banana film. So,
and also, it's notable to notice that to say that Robert Woolsey himself died 4 years after this movie. So he was also on his way out.
Right.
From kidney failure.
Okay. I think Bert lived a bit longer.
Bert lived longer, He lived into the 70s, I believe. 60, 68. Yeah.
Right.
His 70s,
Yeah, so I would say if
he died from emphysema. I wonder if it was from Woolsey's cigar.
Or as in, we forgot to mention in Diplomaniacs, there's another the good scene where Fifi kisses him and she ends up smoking and falling on the floor, and then it turns out she swallowed his cigar. That was a good gag. Actually, it's funny. His persona in these films, Woolsey, I get the feeling he I don't know if he like just deliberately wrote himself all the parts where he gets the women, but it seems like he of the two, right? Whereas you think of the other, because I have no idea how close they were in age and how much makeup, whatever, but Wheeler looks much younger than
much younger.
Woolsey looks like his dad or something.
Well, he was 1895, and Wheeler was like 7 years younger.
Okay, but the gap looks so much bigger.
Right, he looks much older.
They're interesting. It's funny. So in overall, thinking of Wheeler and Woolsey is, I don't know quite what it is about them, because neither of them, especially Bert Wheeler to a certain extent, I wouldn't say he has a very strong, like a character type.
No.
Certainly no kind of comedy
No.
thing.
It wasn't like a It was just
and Woolsey's just got the cigar
thing, yeah.
And it's just quick-witted. But I have to admit, I do find Wheeler and Woolsey likable. There's something about them.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
They sort of play off each other.
Yeah.
I thought Wheeler was more likable than Woolsey. I don't know what it was about it, because I guess it was just more of like this kind of the sardonic kind of.
Yes, and I suspect it's supposed to be that that as well. I think.
He's more the likable one.
Yes. Whereas the other one, he's a bit more like out for himself.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I would say if you're already a fan of comedy teams of this era, and you haven't given Wheeler and Woolsey a try, I think you probably should. Start with Diplomaniacs. It's certainly a bit of a gem, I think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah. So, and I would hope that they would at least make a little bit of a comeback in terms of people knowing about them, right? So, they deserve at least to go down in history, I guess.
And I guess this is our very small part towards that.
Yeah.
Very small.
And thank you, Geno, for turning us on.
Yes. That was a worthwhile little episode, that little excursion into the land of Wheeler and Woolsey.
Right.
And so Geno, you've got some comic book superhero in your...
Well, actually, there's only like 22 or 23 Marvel ones, but there's all the DC ones as well. So there's a lot.
Are you going to force him to watch the TV series as well?
Everything, everything.
Oh, come on, give him a break. You only have to watch the movies. And let us know how that
goes. Yeah, that'll take you a while.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be back in another couple of weeks with another theme. So for now, I did forget to mention one thing actually, which he's Woolsey. Is it? Yeah, I think it's Woolsey. Does it quite a few times in Hips.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
And it's notable because he does it so many times. And and I was thinking that sounds awfully familiar. And I was looking it up, and there is a theory that Lou Costello got it.
Stole it from him.
I'm thinking about it. Lou Costello did do that, didn't he? He did do that. And I know it seems a bit like how can you copyright like a noise which is very much similar to another noise,
right?
But I think there's some kind of link there, isn't
there?
may
have heard it and kind of
in the same way as maybe who knows, George Burns may have patterned his look after, they both had round glasses and a cigar. It's difficult to tell.
Yeah, it could have just been the style of the times too, right?
So I think we should do each, and then we'll be out of here. I'll go first. Way-oh,
poopin'.
Way-oh,
way-lo.
We are wearing blackface, and this is the end of podcast.
Poopin'.
Maybe you don't realize what you've done to me. You've made me your slave. You're what I crave constantly. When I see your smiling eyes and behold your charms, it's heaven to me. I wanna be in your arms.
Just keep on doing what you're doing, although it's leading me to ruin. Just keep on doing what you're doing, 'cause I love what you're doing to me. Just keep on doing what you're doing, although I know there's trouble brewing. Just keep on doing what you're doing, 'cause I love what you're doing to me.
Your lips as red as wine, our lips I can't resist, and once they're pressed to mine, I'll wanna be kissed and kissed.
Just keep on doing what you're doing, although it's leading me to ruin. Just keep on doing what you're doing, 'cause I love what you're doing to me.
Just keep on doing what you're doing, although it's leading me to ruin. Just keep on doing what you're doing, 'cause I love what you're doing to me. Just keep on doing what you're doing, although I know there's trouble brewing. Just keep on doing what you're doing, 'cause I love what you're doing to me. Your lips were made to kiss, your arms to hold me tight, but something tells me this, I'm flirting with dynamite. Just keep on doing what you're doing, although it's leading me to ruin. Just keep on, 'cause I love what you're doing to me.